Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. I don't know about you, but things have been super crazy. And yes, part of it is because of the coronavirus and everything that it's bringing, including isolation, homeschooling, having to adjust and adapt in really weird new ways. But what I've noticed is so many people in my close circles saying the same thing. They just hit a wall. I think everybody is hitting a wall, whether you are going on week 2 or week 5 or even longer. It is just truly testing everything that we have. So I just want you to know, first and foremost, you are not alone. If you feel like you are absolutely in the thick of this, we all are. As a matter of fact, one of my friends who never gets his feathers ruffled, I mean, he is just the coolest cucumber I know. He hit me up and was like, man, I hit a wall last week. I'm like, bro, me too. My friend who I do my podcast with, she said the same thing. She said, I feel like I completely failed by the end of this week. So again, just want you to know you are not alone. We are all going through it. It is crazy times, and I do mean crazy times right now. So just hang in there. Today, what I want to talk about is how can we teach kids how they can take care of their mental health and their mindset, especially when challenging times hit. Well, part of that is going to be, are you taking care of your mindset? Because you can't teach them what you don't know, right? So I just want to point that out. Yes, this is all about how we can help our kids get through these challenging times, but you cannot help them with something that you are not doing yourself. You might want to write that down or rewind it, listen to it again. And all this craziness, like, don't forget, you can grow through this, okay? And so what happened this week, I definitely saw growth in myself and my son. And so I want to bring that to you. So you ready? Okay, let's get to it. So first, let me tell you what happened. And listen, this has to be a judgment-free zone, okay? For me, for you, if I'm going to be honest, I'm going to tell you how I know this stuff works. I got to tell you all parts of the story. Okay. So no judgment, no judgment. But here's what happened. So Caleb has been really good with homeschooling. Okay. He has been crushing it. He's like, no, mom, I got it. This is cool. This is awesome. I feel like part of the reason why he loves this is because lunch is amazing. I'm just saying, it's leftovers every day from the dinner before. So I mean, who's not gonna love that, right? So he's been in really great spirits about this whole homeschool situation. Now, I have been kind of struggling with balancing my work and having to do his homeschooling with him. The best I can do is focus on him throughout the day. When he has moments where he's watching a video, then I can, step away or sit next to him on my laptop or working on my phone and just try to balance out when he needs me and when I need to focus on work. So this particular day, he had done really good in the morning and we were going outside. I decided, let's finish the rest of the day outside. I set up a table. We were in our driveway. It was perfect, guys. He had his headphones on. He was working. I was writing. It was just flowing. But then he got stuck on this new lesson in math, and I could tell that he was starting to get frustrated. Now, you gotta know this about my kid, and I know that he gets it from me, but if things don't come easily, he gets frustrated. He is always in competition with himself. He wants to do things faster. He wants to do things his best. And I try to tell him, it doesn't have to be perfect, or if you don't get it the first time, it's okay. Or if it's hard right away, then just keep pushing through. You already know, I'm like teaching him as much mindset stuff as I can. So as he continues in this lesson and it gets harder and harder, I see him kind of freeze up. Now, this is why I say no judgment. If there is any moment where I'm going to lose my patience with my kid, it's when I see him not trying. If he's just like giving up or being lazy, I'm not okay with that. If you don't understand something, sure, I will try my best to repeat it or say it a different way. I don't care if it takes me 50 or 100 different times. I don't mind that if you truly don't understand. But if you're just giving up, I have a problem with that. So I started to get frustrated. So as I was going through the work with him, I was being a little short. My tone had changed. I was just wearing the weight of my frustration. So he started to get even more frustrated. Why? Because now it wasn't just his work that was challenging, but he could feel the energy that I was giving off. So I gave him a moment to try and get himself together, and he just froze. He could not do it. He was crying at this point. He was like grabbing his hair, feeling so angry. I mean, a little dramatic, right? I decided it was time to take this show inside, that we'd been outside long enough. He wasn't able to roll through the challenge. So we need to go inside because I was starting to hit a new level of frustration. So he takes his stuff inside. I grab a couple things. We go in and he's pacing like he wanted to like punch something, right? And I get it. We all go through this. You guys have to remember that our children, they're little humans. They feel the same emotions that we do. So we have to give them a lot of grace when we see them getting frustrated or angry or sad or crying or whatever. Like, we need to understand that they are processing emotions the same way that we do. So when I saw that, I knew that he needed to let all of that energy out, and in a healthy way. So I took this opportunity to kind of give him a few steps that would help him to work through his frustration. The first thing I did was I encouraged him to release his anger. I told him to go over to the couch, grab a pillow, and scream into it as loud as he could. He did it once, he did it twice. I told him, do it again, do it again. I encouraged him to do it like 4 or 5 times. Why? Because I knew that he was feeling this surge of energy and it needed to come out in a healthy way. Now, I want you to take note of this for yourself. Whenever you feel so overwhelmed or stressed out, you need to release that energy. This is good for your mindset. It really helps to open up and create more mental space so that you can start to think of solutions or a productive way to get through whatever this challenge is. So the first thing that we also need to remember is to release that emotion. I know some people may go for a run, some sort of other exercise, but in this moment, I knew that he needed to scream. So he grabbed the pillow, he screamed as many times as he could, and then he walked back over to me. So the next thing I told him was, you're gonna go upstairs and you're gonna take a little rest. Take about a 20 to 25 minute brain break. Just lay down in your bed, relax for a little bit. And he started to get a little miffed about this because I think he thought that he was on punishment. And I wanted to make sure that he knew you are not on punishment. So I told him that. I said, listen, bud, the more frustrated you get, your brain closes up and it doesn't want to work or flow. But if you can relax, if you can, tell yourself positive thoughts, if you can just kind of hit the reset button, then your brain is going to start to operate a lot better. More information is going to flow. You're going to look for new ways to handle these problems. So I wanted to encourage him that you going upstairs to rest is not punishment. It's actually good for you. So right before Caleb walked upstairs, I wanted to make sure again that he knew that this was for his good, that this was for his benefit. So I told him, come here, bud. And I hugged him and I held him super tight. And I felt his body fall into me. I think he needed that. I think he just needed that touch. I think he just needed that hold, that reassurance that I'm okay. Even if I feel all sorts of out of whack, I'm okay. I'm safe. And we need that, guys. We need that with each other. We most definitely need that with our kids to just reassure them that we've got them, that we love them, that what we're doing for them is out of love and it's for their benefit. And what better way to show that and to exchange that energy than through a hug? Now, here's the tip for us in there. We also need to make sure that we are building in time to rest. We need to make sure that we have breaks during the day, especially if it's in the middle of a really busy work day. We also need to make sure we're getting enough rest at night, that we're not just, trying to work 40, 50, 60 hours a week, burning ourselves at both ends. No, we need to make sure we're building in that time to hit the reset button. Again, this is super important for your mental strength. You cannot keep going and going and going and get yourself to empty. Because guess what? Your mind is not going to work. Your body is going to shut down. You're going to be no good if you burn out. So if we continue to build in rest throughout our day routinely, or if we find ourselves in a moment like my son did where he was just spent. I mean, he was at his max. He could not take on another moment. He was just about to burst. When you find yourself in that very same position, take a rest. Just walk away for a second. And listen, most of us are at home right now. So if that means that you need to put yourself in your room and you need to lay down for 20 minutes, do that. Because let me tell you something. When he came downstairs, he was literally bouncing. Like, he was in such a better mood, in a different mood. He even said to me, he's like, Mom, I feel great. I had a little nap up there. I had time to just relax for a moment. I mean, it was so funny to see how much his mood changed just by taking a moment to be still. This is true for our kids, and it's also true for us. We have to give ourselves just a few moments every single day, but most definitely when we hit our max, to just hit the reset button and then come back to the situation. And then the last thing that I did for my son was I kept it real. See, we need to be real with our kids about what they're going through when they hit their moments of overwhelm and frustration and stress, because they're still learning their emotions. So I decided that this was a great opportunity to remind my son that he's human, that we're alike, that we're all connected through this craziness that happens in our brains. I mean, guys, you think you're alone when you feel like you're going crazy in your mind? Talk to a couple of friends. You will find out that you are not alone. Like, be real with your circle, and you'll find out that you guys are all going through a lot of the same things. It may just be packaged differently. So this is what I wanted to do for my son in that moment. So I said to him, I said, "But remember when we were outside and I was getting really frustrated?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, I was actually feeling in my mind like I wanted to flip over the table. Like I wanted to throw my laptop through the car windshield. Like I wanted to scream." And I said, I wasn't going to do all that because I was angry at you. I was frustrated with your laziness, no doubt. But I was just so frustrated that it started to come up inside of me. My thoughts started to go crazy, and I wanted to just have this huge outburst. But I realized that that wasn't going to be a good decision, that I didn't want you to be afraid. I didn't want you to think that I was angry at you. I didn't want you to take that the wrong way. And honestly, it just wouldn't have been good for me to throw my laptop through my car windshield, right? And he started laughing. And I said, "But this is what I want you to learn from this. We all have crazy thoughts. We all get frustrated and overwhelmed and even angry. That is very, very normal. But you have an option. You can actually choose to change your thinking, or you can choose to go along with that frustration, that overwhelm, that I can't do it attitude." See, what I did was I gave him a real life example that he just lived through with me. And I brought him behind the scenes. I brought him into my mind for him to know that he is not alone in any of this. It is so important that our kids know that they're not crazy and that something is not wrong with them. Because keep it real, you go through the same things that they do. You ain't got to tell me, I know you do, because you're human. We all go through the same thing. But so often we come down hard on our children, expecting them to get it the first time or to know better or whatever it is, whatever your frustration is. We expect this of them, but we forget they are wired just like us. So I repeated to my son, you can choose to change your thinking. And I had him repeat it back to me. You can choose to change your thinking. And by giving him that example that we just lived through together, he saw his mother being an example of how your thoughts can take you in one direction, but you get to choose your actions. So while you're keeping it real with your kids, which I hope that you start to do more of, keep it real with yourself. Allow yourself to be human. When you are feeling so overwhelmed, especially because the state of our world right now is so abnormal, we don't even really know what to do, how to live, how to survive, let alone thrive. So there's just a lot of confusion and chaos around our world. But if you keep it real with yourself, if you say, man, what I'm feeling right now is valid. Yes, things are crazy, so I should expect to feel some sort of craziness or disoriented inside. And then keep it real with your inner circle, the people who you love, who you trust, who love on you. Because again, you guys are all going through this. We are all going through this together. And sometimes, like my son needed, we need to hear from one another to know I'm not crazy, I'm not alone, and somebody else understands where I'm coming from. And we kind of cling through that connection, through that frustration that we share, as different as it may be. We start to become more connected with one another because we are being vulnerable, because we're being honest, and because we're showing, hey, I'm just like you, and we're in this together. So guys, before I wrap this up, I really just want to reiterate the importance that it's not just that you're teaching this to your children, right? Because we really should make sure that our kids are equipped with the knowledge that we're now learning about our mental health and our emotional health. And so it is really important that you teach this to your kids, but it's even more important that you are living this out. See, what I found is that you can't teach your kids something that you are not actively living. I couldn't walk Caleb through that experience, teaching him how to release, rest, and be real, if I hadn't walked through that myself. I wouldn't even have the tools. I wouldn't have the knowledge. I could not explain that to him if it wasn't evidence from my own life. And so if you want your kids to be happy, healthy, and whole, then you need to be happy, healthy, and whole. And that starts with you taking care of yourself. So I just want to encourage you, yes, pour into your kids, love into your kids, teach them all of these things that you're learning to be a better person, but actually apply them to your life first. Your life is actually going to be an example to your children, just like I could walk my son through my example of changing my thoughts, and he understood that because he saw it, he lived it with me. That helped him to understand his own power. And so when you do this, when you apply all that you're learning to your life and then you're teaching your kids, that actually creates a richer experience, because now you guys are fully connected and immersed in doing life together. All right, guys. Well, I hope you found this information helpful. If you did, make sure that you give it a thumbs up. I sure do appreciate it. And also, if you want more information about building a stronger and a healthy mindset, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell, because I am dropping information like this every single week. I got you, because I love you, man. You know that I love you. Also, if you have any questions, go ahead and drop those in the comments below, because I will answer them. And I want us to have conversations around this, especially if you have any questions or comments that can just help you to be stronger mentally. We are in this for the long run. Am I right? All right, guys, I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you soon. All right. What angle can I get here today, guys? Got something in my nose. It's like tickling.